Peace, family. This is Dog Vader, and you're watching Feel Free TV. Once again, we're going to interview the brother Iquan. He's from Brooklyn. We're going to interview him about his experiences before, after, during prison, what he learned from it, how it affected him, his family. Once again, Feel Free TV is about giving brothers and sisters who were formerly incarcerated a platform to speak their truth. We basically also, we speak with families, friends of formerly incarcerated or incarcerated individuals, because we realize that an individual being incarcerated doesn't just affect that individual directly. It also has a ripple effect. It affects your family, your friends, you know? So that's basically what we're trying to do right here. We're trying to give people a platform to speak their truth. Peace. Iquan, peace, God. How you doing?
I'm at peace, just chilling, I'm from the ways of the workplace.
I'm glad you could do this interview with me. Let people know your name, where you from.
Yeah, my attribute I go by is Iquan Allah. I've been civilized for about maybe 30 years now. I'm from Brooklyn, New York, and I'm surviving.
That's right, that's all we can do. So, Iquan, this show is basically dealing with people who's been incarcerated before. So, how much time did you do?
Well, I did 24 years within 2 bids.
Wow, 24. So how much time was the first bid?
The first bid was 9.5.
9.5. Wow, that's a lot of time.
You thought I would learn after that.
Wow. So what year was that, your first bid?
My first bid was 93.
1993.
1993.
So you was on Rikers Island when it was really wild.
Yes, I was.
Because 93, that's like around the time the Bloods started really popping off.
It wasn't really so much of the Bloods yet. You still had the Latin Kings and the Yetas. That was what's more popping off then.
Okay. So were you a part of the Nation of Gods and Earths in 93?
Oh, yes. I was a part of the Nation in 89.
89.
89.
Wow. So, explain to me your life, like, what led up to your incarceration?
Oh, well, it wasn't a host of things that led up to my incarceration. It was just that, when the pockets got low, I tried to go about it the right way, hit the family up. I go do little odds and end jobs, but that wasn't enough at that time for the first bit. So my mom's had got robbed for her rent.
Wow.
And I think that was the thing that set it off for me, because after that, I just went out and just, started robbing everybody.
Wow. So you're doing like stick-ups and stuff like that?
Yeah, I do stick-ups. I did stick-ups,
Wow.
I never violated a person of color. Not that it made any matter, but, I always went elsewhere, because I felt my people, they was working hard just like me. And for me to go and rob them, that was a no-no.
That was a
So
no-no.
I went,
You went outside of your community.
outside of my community and committed crimes.
It's rare that people do that.
Yeah.
Of all nationalities, usually people commit crimes within their community, and usually people are violent towards the people who are closest to them, who are in their community. This is where you hear this term, black on black violence. But if you're in a community with all black people, so you're most likely 9 times out of 10 you're going to be more violent towards those people. The same thing with Asians. Like an Asian is most likely going to get robbed or violated by someone in their own community that looks like them.
Yeah,
You know,
that's
and
true.
and that's the thing people really don't speak on. They just try to make it seem like black on black violence is this crazy phenomena that's only
Yeah,
happening
but
to
that
us.
was mostly for stereotyping.
Yeah,
That was all that they threw that out there. Black on black crime. That was mostly for stereotyping.
because it's white on white. A white woman most likely will be raped by a white man from her community or someone that she knows that's close to her.
And what was that? White on? They don't call that white on white crime.
Of course not. Well, it's a double standard, and we live in a society that's dominated by white people. It is what it is.
Yeah, it is.
So, okay, so you were doing robberies. So, how did you get caught for that first bid? Like, how did that end? How did that robbery end?
Well, I was. Matter of fact, it was a snowy day. It was a snowy day. I just went out. Matter of fact, I was on Rector Street in Manhattan. It was a snowy day, and I just committed a crime, and I'm running.
And
The
it's
police,
down the
the
street.
police is chasing me. So
Wow.
now there's this hill that's going down. I didn't know it was a hill, but when I turned the corner to try to get away, I slipped and I slid right down. And when I stopped, the police was right there talking about freeze, dumbass.
Yeah.
So that was my ending right there, so to speak.
So, what was your experience when you first hit Rikers Island? Because this was your first time going to Rikers Island, right?
No, it wasn't my first time. I've been in and out,
Okay.
But as far as state bids, I've been in and out of Rikers Island.
Okay.
That Rikers Island was no.
Okay, so you wasn't new to it.
No, I wasn't.
You
Yeah, I wasn't
okay.
new to Rikers Island.
So when was the first time you ever went to Rikers Island?
The first time. Oh, my first robbery I ever committed was at Prospect Park.
What
Me
year
and my
was this?
cousin. This was like 80, 81,
81.
81, 82.
Okay, now see.
Don't quote me on that.
Okay.
I think it was around that time.
Now, from what I've heard, because I was a little kid then, but see, there's two different Rikers Islands that I know of. I know of the Rikers Island in the early 90s because I was a teenager on Rikers Island. I know about Rikers Island like in the early 2000s because I was on there also. But I only heard stories about Rikers Island in the 80s. And back then, I heard there was a lot of rapes going on. Like booty bandits was still in effect.
Yeah, you had those back then. The booty bandits, Mother Dear, Poncho. Those the famous ones. Dead on Road.
Yeah.
You had those the famous booty bandits.
The famous booty bandits. A lot of people that's watching probably wonder what is a booty bandit. Well, a booty bandit is someone who rapes other inmates. And then they're within prison culture in New York State, especially New York City, there are famous booty bandits or notorious booty bandits.
That's the more operative words.
Notorious. So Mother Dear was a notorious booty bandit. Why they called him Mother Dear, I have to slide inside there. I don't know. I only heard stories. Dead on Row was another one. And of course, I guess the name is self-explanatory. You know what I'm saying?
He had a dead arm. He'd knock you out with that dead arm.
Yeah, and he would violate you sexually.
Yeah, but that was there. Then you had them gangs terrorizing.
So what was the gangs back then in the early 80s that was on the Rikers
gangs
Island?
back then was you had Nietas.
They were around in the early 80s?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Nietas, Latin Kings, they was out. You had a few, from that was come down from other states and stuff. Vice Lords and all that.
Oh, yeah?
You had a couple that was in there.
Okay.
But those are the main two.
Yeah.
You know,
Then,
they had the 5%ers. They was
yeah.
in there, but you know, they called us a gang back then.
Yeah.
But we wasn't. We was civilizing people. We the one that kept the peace.
Okay.
Muslims, but the Lion Kings, the Yetas.
Now,
Yeah.
back then in the early 80s, and if you were 5%er or Nation of Gods and Earths, what they call it now, do you think that they moved like a gang and back then?
No. No.
Okay. Because a lot of individuals would say, okay, a lot of 5%ers, you had the righteous ones, and then you had the ones who were like renegades who actually moved like they was
just
in a gang.
they just had the name,
Yeah.
but wasn't nowhere fertilized with the nation. They just had the name. Those are the renegades.
Yeah.
You know, they's the ones, probably started trouble, and that's why they tried to come back on us. Nah, it didn't happen. We just let it know.
So, like, to explain, like, your first experience when you went to Rikers Island, like, what was going through your mind? Like, because, of course, this is something that's a new environment.
The first experience, like I said, it was at Prospect Park. Me and my cousin just did a robbery. So we coming out of Prospect Park, and all you heard was click, 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 click. I thought that clicking sound would never go in, but that was the police right there talking about freeze.
Wow.
So now we get caught. We go to bookend. We go to the courts, and they let my cousin go.
And kept you.
And kept me.
That's a horrible feeling.
So that was my stint right there, straight to Rikers Island. When I got to the island, I was like, oh my God. But, I wasn't scared. I wasn't, that was my first experience, but I wasn't scared or nothing. But I just kept my vision up.
Yeah.
I just kept to myself. It was still a little few people I knew, but most of the times I kept to myself. Did what I had to do, go work out, whatever.
Yeah.
But that was it. If they didn't, if you didn't bother nobody, they left you alone.
Okay.
If you came in, you played timid, whatever, yeah.
You would be a victim.
Yeah, you're a victim. Because they coming. I ain't gonna lie, they came when I first walked in the house. Was it Mod 2?
Mm-hmm.
Mod 2? I think it was
C-74?
C-74.
Okay.
Yeah. Back then, that was C-74, but now it's like a release.
Okay.
A place you get released from. But, I went into a house, dudes walked up on me, tried to take my bag and whatever, I said, listen, I'm only going, matter of fact, I ain't even going to say nothing. And I just turned around and just punched the dude in the mouth. And another one came from the back, turned around, I was fighting 3 people.
Yeah.
And after that, he was like, here you go, pardon me.
So basically you had to prove yourself.
Yeah, you got to prove, Back then you had to prove yourself. If you didn't prove yourself, you was liable to get anything that was coming to you.
Wow.
Yeah, it was crazy back then.
Yeah, I can imagine.
It's crazy, and then it's even crazier now.
Yeah, from what I'm hearing, it's crazy.
Even crazier now.
Even though the violence has went down compared to back then, as far as slashings, like, cause they said in the '90s that was like the peak of the slashings and the stabbings.
Yeah,
that was the peak.
Yeah.
And that's like when I first went to Rikers Island. That's what I came into.
Time you turn around,
you know what I'm saying?
All you hear was move.
Yeah. Like everybody had a cut on their face or somewhere.
Yeah.
So let's fast forward. So to your first state bid, you said you did 9 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got knocked in. I came home in 203. No, 93. 93. I came home.
Okay, you got knocked in 93.
93. 203. I came home. I was home for about a year and change.
Before you went back?
Before I went back.
And you went back for another robbery?
Yeah, I went back for another robbery.
So
Back then, it was the first state bid. It was for the robberies. The white people. I'm in Manhattan, 100 Center Street. They know the devious for that.
yeah, that's you right there by the courthouses.
And
Right?
they,
That's where you
yeah,
drop people by
and
the
they
courthouses.
hard on robberies.
Yes, they are.
They hard on robberies. You'll get a whole lot of time for robberies. Like my first bid was 7 to 14. I CR'd off it. I didn't.
So, okay, you came home and you did another robbery. What made you do another robbery knowing that you just came home?
I was involved with drugs.
Okay.
I was involved with drugs then.
All right.
And I needed money.
Okay.
When the pockets got low, I needed money.
So what was your drug of choice?
Well, I was drinking. I smoked crack. I smoked weed. But that's basically what it was.
So, were you doing drugs in your first bid?
No.
So during your bid, you wasn't doing anything.
Nah, my first bid. Nah, all I did was drunk, but it wasn't that extensive.
And I'm talking about like during your bid. Your bid,
during my bid, no.
Oh,
I didn't do. I probably just smoked weed.
So
drunk liquor.
How did you get introduced to crack? Using?
Well, when we was hustling, no, we wasn't hustling. We was sniffing. After we going back out.
Okay.
And we was going back to the store. This girl I used to mess with was in front of us, so she bent down to pick something up, and I got ahead of her, and I was like, "Yeah, see, what's up? What's that?" She was like, "I don't know." I said, "Give it here." I find out what it is. I sell it and give it. So we found out what it was. He said it was crack. We didn't know what the hell it was. So he found somebody that was in front of the building. He came upstairs, showed everybody how to pull, but I didn't like that feeling. You pull, and it felt like you was nauseous and had to throw up, and I was like, everybody's in the bath at the same time. It's like, so he was like, "Nah, you can't do it." I was like, "Nah, that ain't for me. That ain't for me." So then they put in a cigarette, and that was it from there.
Okay. So the crazy thing is like my brothers got like 11 years on me. I'm 43. So he used to tell me like when he was younger, like how they used to smoke wolves. But he was like he was explaining that it was the thing back then. Like
wolves.
Like if you was smoking the stem, you was considered like a crackhead. But if you was like putting it in your weed or your blunt, it was different.
They call it a casual smoker.
Yeah, like
but
back then people viewed you different if you was smoking wolves or if you was smoking a pipe, and like.
But it still had the same effect.
Yeah, I'm a different generation, so to me it's the same thing.
Yeah, same effect.
Yeah. But
either
he was telling me like
stem or the book, it's same effect, and that's what
That's what led you.
Yeah, and that's what had me. I was like, Then I got knocked right about a year after I've been home. I got knocked again.
Wow.
And went up again. I think that was the best thing that ever happened to me. I ain't gonna
Because that helped you clean up.
Yeah, I got cleaned up. I got sent. When he said, well, they started at 20.
20 years?
Yeah, they started because I just came home.
Yeah, because you just came home from doing another
same charge.
Yeah.
So
now you're like a persistent fella.
Yeah. That was only my persistent.
Yeah, once you catch the same charge again, the second time you're persistent.
And when I was going in, so I'm fighting. I'm like, I ain't taking that. So they came down. It was like flat 15.
Flat 15.
I said, no, I ain't gotta take that. He said, Mr. Murchison, we're not going no lower. You just came home off the same charge. So I played and played and played. And I was like, once you get off of 15, 13 and change. All right, I'll take that. But that bid there was the wake up bid.
It was rough, huh?
It wasn't so much rough, but mentally I had to get back on track.
Yeah.
So that's why I took all them years that I was in there looking into me. Then I started losing my mother. I lost my mother in 2007.
Wow.
I lost my aunt 7 years later.
Yeah.
You know, that those the main two blows that hurt.
Yeah. Especially when you can't be there.
Yeah, and I couldn't be
You
there. I
know?
went to my mom's funeral. I did. I couldn't go to my aunt's funeral.
Yeah.
But
Now,
that hurt it.
explain to the people, because like what you had to go through to even go to a funeral from prison.
Well, to go to a funeral, it got to be immediate family anyway. Mother, brother, sister, aunt. That anybody else you ain't going. But your people's call up there to the jail, let them know, okay, his mom's died, you know, such and such. After they speak to them, the clergy will call me down, you know, let me know, okay, yeah, your mom's died, and do you want to go? Yeah. They fill out the paperwork and stuff, you know, and they'll let me know whenever they coming to get me. And they take you down.
So like when correctional officers take you down, are they armed?
Oh yeah, they are. When they traveling, leaving the jail, and you're on the road, the police is armed, and you're shackled.
When you mean
Leg,
shackled?
you leg shackled, and your arms are shackled.
Okay.
When
So,
you travel in the van,
so how about when you get to the funeral?
you're still shackled.
You're still shackled?
Yeah.
So you're sitting there with all family members and friends
in shackles.
in shackles.
Mm-hmm.
Are the guards sitting right next to you, or do they?
Nah, they sitting like out of away from everything.
Okay.
But they still there.
They still there. They allow like people to come up to you and talk to you
Yeah.
and hug you,
Yeah,
whatever.
at least some police. Some officers. You had officers that was real assholes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I didn't catch none.
Yeah.
I was fortunate. I didn't catch none.
Yeah, because I mean, like
they gave me a whole leeway with my mom's.
Yeah.
You know, I stayed there for the. I was supposed to be only going for the funeral.
I
stayed a week, the funeral.
Okay.
You know,
so these officers had a little decency.
Yeah, they had a little decency. You got some.
Yeah, you have some.
But for the most part, they trash. You can't get.
So give me an example of something where you've seen a correctional officer abusing his power.
Well, cell searches. They do cell searches. You gotta have a cell search. You know, every time they say it comes from up front what cells to search, what cues to search, and they just come when they come. All right, it's emergency. You gotta search a cell. Step out, and they just go in there, looking and back at me, and I'm looking at him, and he just tossing stuff, and I'm like, yeah, you ain't gotta violate my stuff like that. Shut up. You do, and then they just, and you say anything, that just make them just messed up. And it's just that, I wanted to hurt them.
Yeah.
But I was like, yeah, let me go ahead, do what you're doing. Do what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? It's a small world. And even smaller when you get out. So. And then I tell you, after I looked into myself, all them years, I became a big fan of karma.
Karma?
Karma.
Yeah.
What goes around comes around. I'm a firm believer of that.
So do you think you got your karma from doing whatever you did out the streets?
Yeah, for all the time that I did wrong, yeah, them bids turned around. That was my karma. Serve them bids. Because I tried.
Yeah. So let's talk about the food in prison. Now, what is the food like?
The food. Well, you got the mess hall food, and you got commissary food.
Okay, let's start with the mess hall food.
Okay, the mess hall food, mostly everything. Well, back then, when I first started in, we cooked our own food in the mess hall.
So the
We
prisoners
cooked.
ran the kitchen?
Yeah, we ran the kitchen. We cooked the food with the sauces, the spices. That's when the food was good. Now, the food is terrible.
Yeah, well, I heard now everything is soy. Nothing is
Soy
real.
and everything comes in a bag.
Yes. And what they don't realize is that large amounts of soy is not good for you.
No.
It raises the estrogen
Level,
levels.
yes.
So what they're doing is feminizing the men in prison
They think
with all the soy products.
Yeah, soy products and the soy saltpeter in the Kool-Aid.
Now explain the saltpeter, because a lot of people probably never even heard of this.
Saltpeter is like a non-stimulant. You know what I'm saying? As far as getting a hard on or whatever, that makes you don't get hard on.
So it makes you not even want to be sexually active.
Yeah, and that they just put that in Kool-Aids, whatever they put it in, they just put it in. That's why mostly everybody didn't drink the Kool-Aid.
Yeah. So I'm wondering, like, what would be the long-term effects? Imagine someone drinking that saltpeter Kool-Aid for 5 years straight. What would be the long-term effects of a drug that kills your sexual urges?
I wouldn't know about that.
No, I'm just wondering.
That's a good
question, because
that's a good question.
It's like that's warfare right there.
Yeah.
Because most of the people in prison are not going to be in prison for the rest of their lives. There's only a small percentage who are going to stay in prison for the rest of their lives. So you're affecting these individuals in there, and when they come out, they're still going to be affected by the chemicals and the drugs that they put in the food.
Somewhat, yeah.
So now it's like, okay, you have a whole population that probably can't reproduce.
Yeah,
You know,
and
that sounds like a conspiracy to me.
And I say, it's like you said, it's like warfare.
It's warfare. Yeah, that's how I see it. I mean,
just like when you go to the doctors in there, they don't care. Nobody don't care in there.
Yeah,
nobody don't care in there.
That's
but
crazy.
You got to stay on yours.
Yeah.
For what I'm saying, to get the right treatment.
Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna touch back on that like far as the infirmary doctors and nurses. Okay, so let's talk about the commissary food.
Oh, the commissary food. Yeah, that's when you want to cook your own food. You go to the store. You get your little rice, your beans, your little snacks. Whatever. You cook your own food. That's where I was introduced with octopus, calamari.
Oh. Okay.
And then you cook your own food, buy your seasonings.
Yeah.
You get your packages.
So how often could you go to commissary?
You go to commissary every week.
Oh, you can go every week. And how much can you spend?
You could spend, back then it was $155.
Oh, so
you can spend up to $155 in the store.
If you're talking like you talking like the 90s?
90s, yes.
So 90s, that's a lot of food.
Yeah.
That's a lot of, if you could spend $155, that's a lot of food in yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. And you gotta hope wherever you at that the rats, because most prisons is populated with them rats. Where you go to the store, buy all that food,
and then you have rodents.
Right there. Why you got on your food bag up there? Because some rats.
Yeah.
So why you buy the food?
I had an experience one time. I was in Clinton, and I had just got there, so they had me on the F company. I think I was in F1 or something like that. This is where like an orientation where everybody first go when they come to Clinton. So I had food from another facility that I brought with me in my my property. So I go to sleep, and I'm hearing this crunching sound. I'm like, what the hell is that noise? So I cut my light on in my cell and I'm looking around. I don't see anything. Then I cut the light off. Next thing you know, I hear something like a bag rattling.
Mm-hmm.
Then I look in my locker. I don't see nothing. So when I wake up and I go like to fix something to eat, I can see that a mouse has eaten into every little packet of food that I had. It didn't just eat out of one. It took a nibble out of every single bag.
Yeah, then you got the I call them the tightrope bandits.
Yeah.
Cause if you got your food hanging up
Mm-hmm.
on like the sheets, rip the sheets and hang them up.
Yeah.
The mice will tightrope and get into your bags.
Yeah.
I call them the tightrope bandits.
That's crazy. It's crazy that you have to live in those type of conditions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
You know.
it wasn't rough, but it could have been rough.
Yeah.
It could have been rough. Now that was just for me. Now
That,
for somebody
yeah,
else,
yeah, because that's
you
your
know,
perspective. That's how you know. Because for somebody else, it could have been like hell.
Yeah, because you know I wasn't no stranger to.
Yeah. So you was kind of like already like programmed into it.
Yeah.
So you already knew how to survive.
Yeah, know how to survive and stuff. And that was that's not to say with nobody else. You know, that's why the ones that did come in, you know, that seen how they was moving. I always watch, seeing how they was moving. If they wanted to move in the correct way, you know, or try to, you know, and I grabbed them, you know, and especially the young brothers.
Yeah.
I had to snatch the young brothers. You know what I'm saying? If I'm working on myself, I'm going to give back. And that was my way of giving back, trying to keep them young boys.
And that's how it should be. That's how it should be. But now it seems like, especially in those facilities, it seems like the old timers are just as bad as the kids that are coming up.
Right now, yeah.
It's like the kids don't even respect the old timers.
Yeah, it's no more of that like back in the days.
Yeah.
Back in the days, the old timer pull up on you, you know, speaking to you.
You would listen, you would show some kind of respect.
But now, the old timers is trying to act like the young boys.
Exactly.
I'm like, that's why they don't really respect nobody.
So let's talk about the infirmary, or this is the clinic, the infirmary.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the services there. Like when you're sick, because I know from my experience, you
take an aspirin, go.
You have to be almost dead to receive some serious medical attention.
And even then, you might not receive it.
You might not receive it.
Because, you know, I was in Mid-Orange. I was in Mid-Orange dealing with that infirmary where I was in there. You know, I just had a routine checkup. But another brother, a Muslim brother, that was in another house, they had called in for them. He was complaining about chest pains. So they told him to come over. So I was like, man, he worked at a mess hall too. I worked at a mess hall. He's like, yo, you all right? He's like, man, my chest is messed up. It's like, yeah, man, all right, we talked and shit, man. When he went to see him, they sent him back to the house. Said he all right.
Said he's all right. Yeah, because they don't
After care. I left the clinic because it was like a routine checkup. I left the clinic, went to work. When I left work and came back to the house, I heard that brother died.
Yeah.
Because they didn't do what they do. They due diligence.
I remember from my experience, I've seen a few people die in prison from lack of medical attention. I seen one guy. He was a known serial killer. He was sick. He went to the hospital. He wound up dying in the hospital. I know another guy who had a surgery and wound up dying. And I know from my experience alone, I've had some serious injuries. I used to work out really hard and lift a lot of heavy weights. And I've had serious injuries where I could barely walk. and they would give me an aspirin.
So yeah, that was the famous slogan.
And aspirin wouldn't do nothing.
Here's the aspirin. All you need is rest.
And like I said, I could barely walk. It was times where I couldn't even lay on my bed. My back was that bad.
Because I had, well, I still have it, sciatica in the spine. I got arthritis in the spine. And most of the times I was in there, it probably brought on my stress. But when that came on, the pain was so bearable that I couldn't walk. I was literally limping. So I go to the infirmary, let them know what happened. Or here, take this aspirin. I said, oh, you all better be lucky. Because by then, you know what I'm saying, I had no family. You know, they gone, you know, everybody else. So.
And the thing is that they could treat you like that. They treat you like an animal.
Yeah. You know, they from the staff down to the police.
Yep. You know. I remember one time I had a scratch on the lens of my eye. The lens of my eye was scratched, and I was going to the front because I could see it when I looked in the mirror. It was right under a light in my cell. I could look, and I could see that it was a scratch on the lens of my eye. So I went to the infirmary, and this woman, I never forget her. She looked in my eye. She had the magnifying glass with the light and everything. She looked in my eye and said, "There's nothing wrong with your eye." Now, here it is. I don't even have the equipment that she has, and I can see that there's something wrong with my eye.
Yeah, and you can feel it.
And I can feel it. She told me there's nothing wrong with my eye. She wound up getting fired. Not because of me, but I guess because of a lot of complaints. And when I went to an outside doctor, he was like, "Yeah, you have a scratch on the lens of your eye." And I was like,
that was that karma. See, that karma. You think they're going?
She was the type of person that would tell you to pull your pants down. And this is an older white lady. She would tell you to pull your pants down. And before you pull your pants down, she'll say, "And you better not get an erection." She was that type.
You know what that means.
She was that type of woman. She would tell you to pull your pants down, squat down in front of you, and look up at you, and fondle your testicles, and look up at you and say, "You better not get an erection." These are the type of people that, you know what I'm saying, you have to deal with when you're in there. Now that's a sexual assault, I think.
Yeah. That on them.
On them, even though she's using it as the guise of her doing a procedure.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? She's making it seem like, okay, I have to do this procedure, but
they all.
But this is the type of things people don't realize what prisoners go through, because people don't realize that once people go to prison, that you're vulnerable. The people who work in the prison don't have to respect your rights.
What the main thing is about prison, when you go to prison, they monitor the mail situation, the visit situation. You know what I'm saying? They see who got family out there, who don't got family, who writes them and who don't write them. You know what I'm saying? And then those are the ones that get targeted.
Yeah.
Oh, he ain't got nobody. You know, he don't get no phone calls. You know, he don't make phone calls. So it's like, yeah, let's mess with him. Let's keep messing with him until, you know what I'm saying, he snaps or whatever.
Yeah, or they wind up killing him.
Yeah, but that's what they do.
Yeah.
You know, even though when my mom was alive, went on visits, she would come and see me. You know, I got mail, but I wasn't getting mail that often. But you know, that didn't matter. But you know, some of them tried to use that. Nah, so, I got family.
Yeah, That's good.
I'm not without family. I got
And
family.
that's an abuse of power.
Yeah.
You know.
I tell you, cause from all the way up to all the way down.
Yeah.
Any prison you go to, there's no such thing as a good prison.
Yeah. No such thing.
No such thing.
Yeah, I've heard individuals say, "Oh, this is a good prison," but there's no such thing.
No such thing as a good prison.
You're still in a cage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Telling you to get up when you go out. No.
Now, do you think that certain people should go to prison?
Yeah. Yeah. The perverts, child molesters, rapos.
What about people who rob? Do you think people who take?
But you don't know the circumstances behind the robbery.
Why they're doing the robbery?
You know, just like you don't know the circumstances for why they doing what they doing. But neither one that to me, that's worse than the robbery. Violating little kids, violating women. And
you know what's crazy? This is because you just touched on something. In prison, they have a hierarchy when it comes to like depending on what type of crime you did. So like if you are a rapist or a pedophile, you will actually be at the bottom of the prison social status.
Yeah, and when if he comes in a house and the police is running that house, he's gonna let him know, bed 32 is a rapist. Yeah. And he'll leave something out there as far as the proof.
Yeah.
Like but we had our own ways of getting the information.
Which is, even though that individual did the rape or the pedophilia thing, and they got sentenced, to their time, the officer still filed for doing that.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Because I've seen officers put labels on individuals who those labels shouldn't even be put on.
Yeah, they good for that.
Because they're good at manipulating other prisoners to do something to another prisoner.
Especially when they run in the house.
Yeah. I've seen that. Like an officer will come to me or a group of guys and be like, "Oh yeah, that guy, he's a snitch, or he's a rapist," and some people just react because the officer said it.
Yeah, like his word was gold.
Yeah. And a lot of times these officers they manipulate things to go on.
Mm-hmm. Keep chaos.
To keep the chaos, because if it's chaos, they have a job.
Mm-hmm.
This is what people don't realize. Like if it's no chaos and people are not coming to prison,
then they out of a job.
They out of a job, or they have to be pushed to early retirement.
And that's why they do what they do.
This is why they do what they do. They want to keep things going in prison. The chaos. A lot of times, the chaos that goes on in prison is orchestrated by correctional officers.
If you so happen to get locked up, put in a situation, it's always good to know what you're looking at. That's why it's always good to go to that law library. Know the law. Know your rights. Know. You know what I'm saying? Because without that, you liable to get at anything to come at you. But if you already know, oh no, you can't do that.
Yeah.
Article such and such states that.
And
they look at you like, he knows something. Let's leave him alone.
Or either that, or they try to get you up out of there, out of the facility, because they don't want you teaching other people, or you become a problem.
Yeah, that's
usually what they do. Or they'll try to set you up with a weapon, put a weapon in your cell
to get you out of there. You're on a draft. You're like, where I'm going?
Send your property somewhere, then send you somewhere.
Yeah.
I've seen
it all. Yeah. I worked in the draft room. I've held some jobs where
You see you
I
can
said, I
see the
see,
fuckery going
yeah.
on.
I worked in the draft room. I worked in the mess hall. Worked in the visiting room. Yeah, I seen it. I seen it. You know, it just, it's good that I came out not somewhat whole, but damn near whole.
Yeah.
Because, some people, after all that time, their mentality is shot.
So if you could do it all over again, would you do it differently?
Yeah, I would do it differently.
What would you do different?
I would do it differently. I wouldn't have picked that gun up. I wouldn't pick the gun up. I'll find another alternate route to go to.
Yeah.
But because prison, I wouldn't wish that on the worst enemy. It's bad.
Yeah.
It's bad, and you lose too much of yourself in there.
Definitely. And the thing is most likely you're gonna return back to society, and when you come back to society, when you return back to society, they didn't fix the problem.
Mm-hmm.
See, that's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
They just put you in prison and warehouse you, and then when your time is up, they send you back out into society.
Yeah.
But they didn't find out what your problem was and try to fix it. So when you go back out in society, you're a different person.
It's a big business. They don't care about that. It's a business.
It's a revolving door.
Man.
Business is popping.
Man.
And
corn crab.
Yeah.
Big business. Warehousing. We are the warehouses.
Yeah. Definitely. So with that being said, Iquan, thank you. I appreciate it. Is there anything you want to say to the people?
Peace. If this message did play any part in y'all listening, well, y'all know not to stay away from them places, Try to stay out of freedom. Keep your freedom as long as you can, because I wouldn't wish prison on no one, And
All right.
That's it.
All right.
Take care of yourselves.
Peace. This is Feel Free TV. I'm Dog Vader, signing off.